All right, what up, YouTube? This is No Cap, No Filter. I'm your host, Marley G, back at y'all another episode of Running With You. And today we got to run about this clip I came across with Charleston White storming out of an interview. They basically talking about the black community and what the black man need to be doing for, self-growth. And tensions got high, people buttons got pressed, people got triggered. And I think it was a lot of emotional immaturity going on. One thing about Charleston White, he don't like going back and forth with somebody who's interviewing him. So we've seen this on countless amount of times. And on this particular time, a lot of the hosts were, trying they were not understanding, I guess, where he was coming from, and they were just taking everything too personal when Charleston White was kind of talking in general. But I could see why both sides were agitated. But without further ado, let's go ahead on and get into the clip. One thing about the black community, bro, we got a lot of discussions that need to be held, and we got a lot of trauma that need to be unpacked. But at the end of the day, bro, people got to be ready for these conversations.
Nigga, I don't trust you.
All right, so what you think we need to do as a community to change that?
You need to go back and apologize to every woman you think you have hurt, whether you think you've done it or not. Apologize. That's why we can't get ahead, nigga. All I'm gonna say is, I'm gonna say why I say this. I got two kids. I got two kids by one woman who I was married to. I ain't got bastard baby. So go apologize. Go apologize. I don't So have you gone to jail on your kids? Have you gone to jail on your kids? No.
I come from a household, nigga. I come from a household, nigga, with no mama, no daddy, no shit, nigga. And I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that sad story.
I know plenty niggas got that. But what are your morals like? Do your children behave properly? Do they pray tonight? Do they serve your God? Because you failed as a father and as a mother. If your children don't serve your God, nigga, my son has never been arrested. My daughter, hold on, this is not a competition. This is not a competition. But let me speak.
Man's 18.
Now, one thing about it, Charleston White said you need to apologize for every woman that you heard or something like that. Man, Charleston White need to apologize for a lot of the stuff he said. Like, a lot of the stuff he say, he try to paint it as content. He try to paint it as words shouldn't hurt you. He try to paint it as if you let these words get you out your character, then you're emotionally immature. He painted it as holding up a mirror to the community, but at the end of the day, at what point does it stop being content? At what point do you got to do all this in the name of quote unquote content? It's just like the Chud the Builder guy going around saying, oh, all this is freedom of speech, but it's really, racism hidden behind freedom of speech, talking about you'll be chimping out if, I'm doing this to antagonize you, but you're giving me a reaction. And would do stuff to him, he don't get a reaction, or let's just say the roles reverse. He were out, with a girl that he like, and a black person come up to him and just antagonize him, saying, all type of slurs, that's demeaning and stuff like that, and try to talk to his girl and say, oh, he's chimping out or whatever. Like, you can't, dish out something that you can't handle yourself, because if Charleston White was emotionally mature, he would just sit there and talk to these dudes instead of getting all riled up and then get ready to walk out the interview. Now, I understand what he's saying about don't just challenge him if you're trying to pay him for an interview. Let your audience see him, not the interviewer. I understand that, but like I said, man, as a black community, we got to have these conversations, and we can't have these hypocrisies and contradictions, and Charleston White been known to be a walking contradiction, and who knows, man, maybe all this is a setup to get their podcast popping. Because one thing I believe about Charleston White that I do agree with is everybody playing, a lot of stuff that's done on camera, dog, is specifically for the camera. It ain't even much real. That's really what's going on. It's just all content, but he talked about his kids, and he said, yeah, you failed as a father if your son don't believe in the same religion as you. I don't agree with that. You could have a healthy family dynamic with you and your kids, but they might not necessarily believe in the same thing as you. You know, ain't nothing wrong with that. Different political beliefs as well. Now, I do believe that, when it comes to you and a girl, you and your woman need to have the same type of ideologies when it comes to political and religious. Otherwise, it's going to clash and y'all probably won't even make it to have a kid together. But if your kid has his own different type of mind, then you got to accept that, as long as he did the research and, figured, oh, this is more aligned with what his thinking is. Just continue.
And the motherfucking truck driver, nigga, with no felonies, with business accounts.
Have you ever been to jail on your children?
Say it one more time.
Have you ever been to jail on your children?
I have, yeah.
Hell no.
I haven't.
Hell no, I haven't.
I never. So hold on.
I haven't.
This is not a competition. I'm just asking questions because I'm a day one father. I didn't make bastard babies, for one. That's a.
And you can't challenge somebody asking them something that that you haven't did. Like when you say, "Have you ever been to jail on your children?" You haven't been to jail on your children. That's the reason you asked this question. So therefore, you is making it a competition. Who's a better father? Who's an all around present father?
First that you put upon your children that the white man has nothing to do with. You curse your children having children out of wedlock. So I'm gonna say children don't know what it's like not to be in the house with their father. They was raised by me, live with me. If you ain't done that, my nigga, it's hard to talk to your brothers because you're getting offensive about what I'm saying rather than receiving.
Not with me, cause
no. It ain't about what. It ain't about what you. It ain't about what you, because you still looking in the past. You just say, I can't. I know.
But when it comes down to a bitch that's fucked up, no. Some bitches can't be corrected, nigga. Period.
Some niggas
Some
can't
bitches can't
Some
be
niggas
corrected,
can't either.
nigga.
Some niggas, it ain't about the bitch. It's about what you done wrong to the bitch. The bitch didn't do wrong to you first.
How you know?
You showed up fucked up.
Know?
You showed up
How
fucked up based on what you just said. Based on what you just said. You just said you were with no mother.
You can't correct the fucked up bitch.
This ain't got nothing to do with the bitch. I'm talking about us, black men. Take the eyes off the bitch. You said you showed up fucked up already with no mama. So how you gonna love her and you ain't get love from mama, which is the first teacher? Mama is the
Yeah, just do the walking contradiction, bro. I can understand why they get mad, but at the end of the day, dog, if you know Charleston White, you can't antagonize him and try to challenge him on every little thing because he's going to walk out your interview. And I'm pretty sure they prayed a hefty bag for him to come up here. But at the end of the day, maybe this was all, a plan all along to get eyes on the podcast, because I never heard of this podcast until now. So maybe the plan is working, but I don't see how somebody will want to subscribe to this over it being a real good, healthy interview.
The first teacher. So if you don't get love and nurture from mama, you go misuse and abuse her because you sure don't know how to use a woman, black man.
That's your opinion.
It's not my opinion.
That's your opinion.
Hey, man.
Now, I think this conversation has sparked over, how can we get better in the black community? How could the black man lead the black woman? And I think it sparked over, the white man been holding us back. And I think Charleston White is alluding to that's a victim mentality, and that's one thing I understand about black people who made it. They always say, oh, you can't have a victim mentality when they're the ones who made it. But they were, down in the valley before they got to the mountains, they would say, man, a lot of this stuff right here is holding me back. It just so happened Charleston White made it because he was going online, saying a lot of crazy stuff, and everybody just not going to walk that life to say a lot of crazy stuff and break that barrier like how he did, because had he not said all that stuff online, would he be in the same situation as he in right now? I think not. But man, one thing I can say, dog, when it comes to the black community, I think we so far gone. I think that, we the only race that really, have a problem with each other and challenging each other instead of uplifting each other and supporting each other. We'll go, mess with all the other races, go run to all the other races as far as doing content, as far as collaborating, as far as spending our money with, you know, and it's a reason for all that. It's a reason for all that. You know, we so divisive in our own community. The gender war is so present in our own community. Like, so many people get raised in single mother homes in our own community, and the family dynamic is just out the window. Like, even right now, I don't even think people do family reunions no more like how we used to. Remember how we was younger? You used to go have all the family functions, and the uncles and the aunties be the ones on the grill and stuff like that. Well, we the uncles and the aunties now, and we not on the grill. You know, like, a lot of stuff, a lot of receipts has been lost in the Black community, bro. And I don't know if we could get back on track. A lot of stuff been around, but social media just exacerbating everything. Like, and then you just look at content creation. You look at what our youth is looking at. You look at all these degenerate streamers. You look at all these degenerate shows. What are the females watching? Now that's TV baddies. They think, oh, well, if I can act like this, I could be rewarded. What all the dudes are watching? Scammers, trappers, drug dealers, being street. All that is the stuff that's glorified. You know, so I think when it comes to our youth, the youth that we got coming up in the next generation, they ain't gonna be no better off than the ones that's current right now or the ones before us. So I think we just so far gone, and I really don't know when we can, you know, just start making things right. I just don't know. You know, I just don't know. And a lot of our bloodline is going to be wiped away if a lot of people just keep on having these broken homes, and a lot of people are just, you know, procreating with another race. But I want to know what y'all think based off this little clip alone. Do y'all think Charleston White is right? He was making sense, but they was just being emotional and, you know, giving a response just off of emotion, or, you know, listening to react instead of listening to understand. Like, let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. Or do y'all think that they could understand why they was getting triggered because the way, you know, the way Charleston was, you know, giving his language or whatever. A lot of two things can be true at once, bro. Two things can be true at once. Like, if you know you dealing with a certain group of people or a certain person, it's a way that you can speak to them and get your point across without having to make them feel triggered, because you know the type of people you can trigger. Nah, that's just part of life. That's just part of life. But I think that, man, when it comes to the Black community, I think the best thing we could do, dog, is the first thing. I think we got to have better family dynamics. I think we got to have, you know, people vet the partners and then raise up good, you know, upstanding human beings when it comes to, you know, their procreations. Because the kids is inevitably our future. So who we procreating, how we, you know, being involved in their lives. Now, one thing about Charleston White, he did say his kids been a part of his lives since they were born. And that's good. I know his daughter graduated early. He said his daughter never been into a fight. His son, you know, been around him, watching him, you know, do manly things. And I think that is fantastic. I think that is fantastic. I think a lot of more people could, you know, benefit from being in their kid's life more. I think that'll make them a better person for self-growth, and that'll shape they kids into becoming better adults down the line. And they won't resent them, you know, because they'll know that it was there. But I want to know what y'all think down in the comment section below. Without further ado, go ahead on and hit that like button. Go ahead on and subscribe. Until next time, I'm out.